You ever get that gut feeling, the one that tells you something ain't right? I've always trusted mine. It's kept me alive in more ways than one. So when I started noticing the little changes in Sarah, my wife of 8 years, I didn't ignore it. It started small. Her phone was suddenly always face down. She was dressing up more than usual, and she had this new laugh, this flirty little giggle I'd never heard before. I tried to brush it off at first, told myself I was being paranoid, but deep down I knew. Then there was my best friend, Ryan. We'd been through thick and thin together since high school. He was always the cocky, smooth-talking type, but I never once thought he'd cross me. Lately, though, something about the way he looked at Sarah set me on edge. The breaking point came at Jake's party. It was one of those big backyard gatherings, loud music, too much beer, and people letting loose. I wasn't much for parties, but Sarah insisted. "Come on, babe," she'd said, pressing against me. "It's been forever since we had a night out." So I went. And maybe I should have enjoyed myself, but I spent most of the night watching her. She was laughing a little too much at Ryan's jokes, leaning in just a little too close. But I kept my cool. I always do. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. Ryan whispered something in her ear, and she bit her lip before slipping inside the house. He followed a few seconds later. My blood went cold. I gave them a minute, just enough rope to hang themselves with. Then I followed. I moved through the hallway like a predator, my boots barely making a sound against the hardwood. The bathroom door was cracked open, and when I peeked inside, the sight burned itself into my brain. Sarah, on her knees. Ryan standing over her with a smug grin. His eyes met mine in the mirror, and instead of shock, he smirked. "She's done things with me she's never tried with you," he said, his voice dripping with arrogance. I clenched my fists, every muscle in my body screaming for violence. But I didn't give him the satisfaction of a reaction. Instead, I stepped inside, looked him dead in the eyes, and smiled. "Thanks for telling me," I said calmly. "You can have her." Sarah's head snapped up, her face draining of color. "What?" she stammered. I folded my arms. "Oh, and congrats, Daddy. She's pregnant." Ryan's smirk vanished. He went pale, his confidence crumbling in an instant. Sarah gasped, covering her mouth with a shaking hand. But what happened next, that's what really struck me to the core. You ever hear that saying, "Life ain't fair"? Yeah, well, I lived it. Sarah wasn't just some woman I married. She was my whole damn world. We met in college, back when I was just some rough-edged kid from a blue-collar family, scraping by on a football scholarship. She was the pretty sweet girl from a nice suburban home, the kind that never had to worry about overdue bills or working late shifts just to afford gas. She was way out of my league, and everyone knew it, but for some reason she picked me, said she liked my fire, said I made her feel alive, and man, I fell for her hard. After graduation, I busted my ass working construction while she started climbing the corporate ladder in marketing. I didn't mind. I was proud of her. Proud that my wife could hold her own in boardrooms while I built homes with my bare hands. We had 2 kids, our son Logan and our little girl Ava. They were my everything. Every extra hour I worked, every sore muscle, every drop of sweat, it was all for them. I thought we were a team. Turns out I was the only one playing for keeps. Back at that party, standing in that bathroom doorway, I watched the color drain from Ryan's face. He looked from Sarah to me as if I'd just dropped a grenade at his feet. "Whoa, what the fuck do you mean, pregnant?" he stammered, his whole cocky demeanor evaporating. Sarah shot up off the floor, grabbing my arm. "Babe, wait!" I yanked my arm free. "Don't!" She tried again, desperation in her voice. It's not what it looks like." I barked a cold laugh. "Not what it looks like. Oh, so you're praying with your mouth now, huh?" Ryan took a step back, hands up. "Hey man, we were just messing around. I didn't let him finish. My fist crashed into his jaw so hard he slammed into the sink, sending a glass soap dispenser flying. The coward tried to grab onto the counter to steady himself, but I wasn't done. I grabbed him by his overpriced collar, lifted him, and drove him through the bathroom door. The cheap wooden frame exploded as we tumbled into the hallway, people turning in shock at the commotion. Sarah screamed, but I barely heard her over the pounding in my ears. Ryan hit the floor hard, groaning as he clutched his face. "You think this is funny, huh?" I snarled, stepping over him. "Bragging about fucking my wife." His face twisted in pain, but he still tried to play it off. "Jesus, man, chill the fuck out." I grabbed the front of his shirt and lifted him. "Chill out," I growled. "Did I chill out when I took you in after your ex kicked your sorry ass out? Did I chill out when I covered your tab every time you forgot your wallet? Did I chill out when you were out of work and I let you crash on my damn couch?" I shoved him hard against the wall. His nose was bleeding, his lip was split, and for the first time in his life, Ryan looked scared, and it felt fucking good. But then, Ava. Somewhere behind me, I heard her little voice. "Daddy?" That single word hit me harder than any punch ever could. I turned, and there she was, my baby girl, standing at the end of the hallway in her princess pajamas, clutching her stuffed bunny. Logan was behind her, holding her hand, his 11-year-old face already hardened with anger. I let go of Ryan instantly. Ava's lip quivered. "Why are you mad?" My throat tightened. I wouldn't let her see me like this. I forced myself to take a breath, flexing my fists before looking her way. "Go back to bed, sweetheart," I said, my voice calmer now. "Daddy's just handling something." Logan didn't move. He was staring at Ryan, his eyes burning with the same rage I felt. He knew. Sarah finally found her voice. "Honey, let's just go home and talk." I snapped my head toward her. "You don't get to talk to me right now." The weight of everything hit all at once. The betrayal, the humiliation, the injustice of it all. I had sacrificed everything for her. I had killed myself working extra hours, skipping nights out, doing whatever I could to make sure my wife and kids had the best life possible. And this is what I got in return? I clenched my jaw, my body trembling with rage as I turned to Ryan one last time. "You," I sneered. "You want to fuck around with my wife? You want to play house? Fine." I turned to Sarah, looking her dead in the eyes. "You're his problem now." Then I stepped over Ryan's sorry ass, walked to my kids, and never looked back. But this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Sarah never thought I'd find out. Hell, she never thought I'd care enough to do something about it. That was her first mistake. After I left the party, I took Logan and Ava home. Neither of them said much in the car. Ava dozed off, but Logan, he was quiet. Too quiet. He wasn't a kid anymore. He was old enough to understand what had happened, even if he didn't have all the details. I had to be strong for them. But inside, I was a goddamn storm. I wasn't the kind of man who let things slide. I wasn't built for forgiveness. I was built for justice. And I was about to make Sarah and Ryan pay. Sarah's sighed. I don't know what I expected. Maybe I thought I could cry my way out of it. Maybe I thought he'd go into some quiet depression, lick his wounds, and eventually just accept it. But when I got home that night, the house was dark, except for the kitchen light, and he was waiting. Tim sat at the table, his fingers tapping against a manila folder in front of him. His expression was unreadable, but his knuckles were still raw from where he'd punched Ryan. I swallowed hard. "Babe, please, let's talk." He slid the folder toward me. "Go ahead," he said coldly. "Open it." I hesitated, then flipped it open. My stomach dropped. Inside were pictures, high resolution, time-stamped, undeniable. Me and Ryan in his car, me sneaking into a hotel with him, me sending texts I never wanted my husband to read. Oh God, Tim had known. He had known for weeks. I clutched the folder, my breath shallow. How? "Private investigator," he said flatly. "Cost me a couple grand. Worth every fucking penny." Tears burned my eyes. "Tim, I didn't mean to hurt you." He let out a bitter laugh. "Didn't mean to?" He stood up, towering over me. "You didn't mean to fuck him, my best friend? Didn't mean to lie to my face? Didn't mean to let our kid see me drag his sorry ass through a goddamn wall. I flinched. It just, it just happened. His jaw clenched. Bullshit. People don't just fall on ducks, Sarah. I wiped at my eyes. You weren't there for me. You were always working, always coming home exhausted. I felt like a single mom, Tim, and Ryan, he made me feel wanted. There, I said it. For a split second, something flickered in his eyes. Pain, but it was gone as fast as it came. Wanted, he repeated. Sarah, I was killing myself to give you the life you wanted. Every fucking night I worked late so you wouldn't have to worry about bills, about rent, about anything. But that wasn't enough for you, was it? I shook my head. It's not like that. You didn't want a husband, he said darkly. You wanted a fantasy, and when reality didn't match, you fucked the first guy who gave you attention. Silence. My lips trembled. Tim, I still love you. He leaned in, his voice like ice. Number you don't. And then he picked up another folder and tossed it in front of me. A second one. Dread curled in my gut. I flipped it open and felt my soul leave my body. Divorce papers. Not just any divorce papers. Ones that had already been filed. I shook my head. No, wait, please, we can fix this, He cut me off. I already talked to a lawyer. Since I have proof of your adultery, guess what? You get nothing. I froze. He smirked, but there was no warmth in it. That's right. The house, mine. The kids, mine. You can pack your shay-shet and get the fuck out. Tears streamed down my face. Tim, please. He didn't move, didn't soften. You made your bed, Sarah, he said quietly. Now go fucking lie in it. Nuclear revenge. Sarah didn't believe I'd actually go through with it, but I did. The next morning I took the kids to my parents' place, made sure they were safe before I set my plan into motion. First, I took all the evidence I had, photos, texts, PI reports, and sent them to everyone, her parents, her boss, her friends. Then I sent a personal text to Ryan's girlfriend. Yeah, the one he'd been with while he was screwing my wife. Hey, thought you should know what your boyfriend's been up to. Check the attachments. Enjoy. Oh, and Ryan. Yeah, he had no idea what was coming. I called up a friend who worked at a local garage, told him Ryan was looking to get some work done on his car. He agreed to help. That night, Ryan's precious Mustang mysteriously got towed. The best part? It was accidentally sent to a chop shop. By the time he found out, it was in pieces. Oops. And Sarah? She learned the hard way that actions have consequences. Her boss found out about the affair. Turns out they have a morality clause in her contract. She got fired on the spot. Her parents disowned her. Logan refused to talk to her. Ava cried for days. She tried to beg me to work things out, but I was already gone. By the end of the month, she was homeless, unemployed, and alone. Ryan? Well, after his girlfriend dumped him, he tried to make amends. But some things, some betrayals, there ain't no coming back from, and I made damn sure of that. You ever watch someone destroy their own life in real time? It's a special kind of justice. I didn't have to do much after I set everything in motion. Sarah and Ryan? They did the rest themselves. It all started with a phone call. A week after I left her in the kitchen with the divorce papers, Sarah called me. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity got the better of me. Her voice was shaky. Tim, please, I don't have anywhere to go. I took a slow breath. Not my problem. I lost my job, she whimpered. My parents won't even speak to me. Logan won't answer my texts. I need you. I laughed. Not the kind of laugh you give when something's funny. The cold, bitter kind. You needed me. Where was that when you were on your knees for Ryan? Silence, then a sob. I fucked up. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. Yeah, you did. For a split second, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered what she took from me, my trust, my dignity. The years I spent busting my ass, making sacrifices so she could have the perfect life. All while she played house with my best friend. Number. She deserved every second of this. I just, her voice cracked. I didn't think you'd actually leave me. I gritted my teeth, and there it was. She never thought I'd leave. Never thought I had the balls to walk away. She thought she'd have her fun, I'd throw a fit, and then, what? I'd forgive her? Forget it ever happened? Let her play victim while I picked up the pieces? Not this time. Sarah, I said finally, my voice like steel, you made your choice. Now live with it. And I hung up. The downfall of Ryan's Sarah wasn't the only one whose life was falling apart. Ryan? Oh, he was getting his karma served piping hot. First, his girlfriend dumped him. Turns out she didn't appreciate getting a phone full of proof that her loving boyfriend was screwing his best friend's wife. Then the car situation. Ryan's Mustang was his pride and joy. Spent years fixing it up, pouring every spare dollar into it. So when it got accidentally towed to a chop shop and stripped for parts, yeah, he wasn't exactly thrilled. The guy had a full meltdown in the parking lot, screaming at the workers while they just shrugged. Sorry, man, one of them said. Paperwork says it was a junk car, nothing we can do. I would have paid good money to see the look on his face, but the best part, his job. Ryan worked for a real estate firm, a small one, where reputation was everything. So when his boss got an anonymous email containing some very interesting details about how he'd been sleeping with his married client's wife, let's just say they didn't want that kind of PR, fired, evicted from his apartment 2 weeks later. Suddenly, the golden boy who had it all had nothing. Sarah's last attempt. I thought that was the end of it. Thought she'd crawl away, tail between her legs, and disappear from my life forever. But no. Sarah had one last card to play. A month after everything blew up, I was at home, finishing up dinner for the kids, when there was a knock at the door. Logan looked up from his plate, frowning. You expecting someone? No. I wiped my hands and went to check. When I opened the door, there she was. Sarah. She looked awful. Hair a mess, dark circles under her eyes. She was wearing the same hoodie I'd seen her in weeks ago, and judging by the smell, she hadn't showered in a while. I should have slammed the door in her face. But then I saw her eyes. She wasn't here to beg. She wasn't here to apologize. She was here to fight. She shoved a piece of paper into my chest. You think you won? She hissed. Think you can just ruin my life and walk away? I glanced at it. Court documents. I sighed. Sarah, what the hell is this? She lifted her chin. I'm suing for full custody. The world stopped. For a second, I thought I misheard. Then I laughed, a cold, dangerous laugh. Full custody? I repeated. You've got to be fucking kidding me. I'm their mother, she snapped. You can't just cut me out of their lives. You turned Logan against me. I cut her off. You did that yourself. She flinched. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. You think a judge is going to look at a cheating, unemployed homeless woman and hand her full custody? She swallowed hard. I'll get a lawyer. You can barely afford a sandwich, Sarah. Tears welled up in her eyes. I'll find a way. I shook my head. No, you won't. I took the papers, ripped them in half, and tossed them at her feet. She let out a broken sob. You did this to yourself, I said, voice like steel. Now get the fuck off my porch. And for the first time since this nightmare started, she listened. She turned, shoulders slumped, and walked away. I didn't watch her go. I shut the door, locked it, and for the first time in a long, long time, I felt free. It took me a while to feel normal again. Not just because of what Sarah did, but because of what it almost did to me. The anger, the betrayal, the pure rage, I could have let it consume me, could have turned into one of those bitter, broken men who never recover. But I didn't, because I still had something worth fighting for. Logan, Avenue. They were my everything, and if Sarah thought she could use them to keep a piece of me, she was dead wrong. She tried. Oh, she tried. After I shredded her pathetic custody papers, she spent weeks playing the victim. showing up at mutual friends' houses crying about how I destroyed her life, posting vague, pathetic sob stories online. Even had the nerve to call my mother and try to get her on her side. Didn't work. See, the thing about cheating, it doesn't just ruin marriages, it ruins reputations. And Sarah? She burned every bridge on her own. Her parents didn't take her back. Our friends cut her off. She was alone. Last I heard, she was crashing on a coworker's couch, working some shoddy minimum wage job after getting blacklisted from her industry. She reached out a few more times, leaving pathetic voicemails about how she just wanted to talk. I never called back, not once, because I was finally done. The rebuild. It wasn't easy starting over. Divorce was finalized in record time. Turns out when your wife gets caught balls deep in betrayal, judges aren't too sympathetic. I got the house, got full custody, got everything. But the biggest win? Logan and Ava never had to question where home was. Logan, man, and that kid's got my fire. He's still young, but he understood what happened. Understood that his mother chose herself over us. And it changed him. He doesn't talk about her much anymore. But I know the scars are there. Ava, she still asks about her sometimes, but kids are smarter than we give them credit for. She saw the way Sarah disappeared, felt the emptiness, and in the end, she clung to the only parent who never left. I won't pretend it was easy. There were nights I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever really move on, if I'd ever look at another woman and not feel that instinctual distrust. But time has a funny way of healing wounds. One morning, about a year later, I woke up, and it didn't hurt anymore. I made breakfast, packed the kids' lunches, drove them to school, went to work, and for the first time in a long, long time, I was happy. Not fake it till you make it happy. Really, truly, peacefully happy. Sarah was nothing but a chapter in my story now, a cautionary tale. And as I stood there watching Logan throw a football in the backyard with his sister, I knew I wasn't just a man who survived betrayal. I was a man who won, and that was the best revenge of all.